Learning hybrid photography, one day at a time.
Become a smarter photographer every day at discovermirrorless.com.
It's free and phone and tablet friendly.
Hello there, and welcome to an episode of Hybrid Sheroes. I have a great group of women with me today, and we're going to talk video, specifically the techniques that we use as we make video. But to start us off, I thought I'd ask everyone what their favorite thing or part about having added video to their photography practice was. So I'm going to start out on the end with Suzette.
Hi, I love shooting video. It's like a completely new language, and you can just add a little bit of video and it just emotionally sucks people in. So I just feel like it's just added a depth to my photography that I love. Super creative too.
I have to agree, and I love the fact that video adds an element of life, and people stop and look at your videos, and especially if they're in them. I think that is a huge attraction factor.
I think it adds by adding movement to a bunch of still images, just a little tiny bit of movement with a little clip of video in it. It gives them a sense of place.
It gives more of the story. We used to say, you know, tell a story in a picture, but now we can tell more of the story quicker.
Yeah, I enjoy video because it makes it's easier to tell a story to your client. So you can make a product that adds video and pictures, and then it gives you a new dimension. And I think it's a nice thing to do.
And I like the look on my client's face when they're ready for a slideshow, and all of a sudden in the middle of it there's this little piece of video, and they see the baby move, or they see the wedding taking place, and not just the stills. And that look on their face to me is priceless. It's worth all of the pain of learning. So that'll transition us over to the next set. And what I'd like to say to the audience, other than introducing myself, I'm Carol. I'm typically seen as the instigator of these Hybrid Shero Hangouts. And my question was, when we started this particular, started planning this session, was what do you do when you're actually shooting video? I'm so new to it. I feel like I don't know very many techniques. I know lots of things to do when I'm shooting a portrait session or shooting a wedding, but when it comes to the video, after I push the little red button, yeah. So I thought I would lean on all of my beautiful Shero friends and see what they do to make their videos and what their favorite techniques are. And I think we agreed this time Christine gets to start us off.
Oh, I like to add movement to all my videos, so I'm really starting now to use this kind of new elements to help me to bring movement to my videos. So I'm trying now to search for slides, you know, the track slides, to bring movement and to bring a new dimension to the video. And I think this is a very nice thing to add to the video. As well, you can do other things like try to use like monopods or stuff like this to bring movements as well, or even a bicycle, or even in the car or anywhere. Try to bring movement to your video. I think is a good thing, and that's what I try to do.
Excellent. Hey, yeah. Christine, can you just do a quick intro on yourself and tell everybody just a little bit about your photography practice,
okay.
Please?
I'm a wedding and portrait photographer here in England, and I basically do just photography, but now I'm starting to try to add video to my products. So I'm gonna have now my next wedding. I already talked to the bride and the groom, and I asked them if you could please let me take some, you know, some shots of, and then I'm gonna offer a small trailer and see what happens, you know, because I think it's a good way to add to make a new product that's interesting, and it's a good memory. So that's what I'm trying to do now, to bring a new product like a hybrid video to my clients. And let's see, I think I'm sure they're gonna love it. I'm sure.
Great.
Yeah.
Hey, Jess.
Well, my favorite tool is my brain, of course. Same thing with photography. And I have to say, so what I'm fascinated about hybrid is telling the story and really setting things up so people can tell their stories. So with taking a headshot and adding video, I don't have my clients come in with what they're gonna say. I really want to connect with them and do an interview, and then I'm taking clips. I'm not looking for information, but I'm looking for a connection, movement, and something where they show themselves. So it's very much reliant on my ability to connect and pull things out. And then when I work with my families and I have them telling stories, it's important that they include me in on who they're telling stories to. So it's so they're not just looking at each other. I need them to also look at me. And so there's some technique, just like when we use noise with photography, to get someone to look at you. It's something about inserting myself into that intimate conversation in the storytelling.
Very cool. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Oh, I run Portrait Playtime, and we started out doing family work, children, families, and we are quickly growing in commercial work and really wanting to do these pro motion headshots and video combination where I'm showing people's passions.
Hey, Miss Lynette.
Well, I'm a travel photographer, so I don't take pictures of people or shoot them, as you might say. So I take pictures of scenes and stuff like that, and I found that people get tired of looking at your slideshows if they're completely still. So by having some kind of motion where I will either hold the camera outside the window of a car, or and I did get a little GoPro Hero and I put that right on the front of a vehicle, and you just let it run and then clip some of that in. You can see where you are when you take the shots, and I think it makes it, you have the sound of the car going. I haven't figured the sound part out yet, but getting the sound going, and then you come in and see the images. It gives a sense of place for travel images rather than just seeing a bunch of pretty images.
I love it. Excellent. And that brings us to...
Hi, my name's Marlene, and I have also been adding motion to my shots. And I've got sort of 3 ways that I'm doing this. I've used sliders, and Christine has already talked about sliders. I've also used a jib, which allows you to raise your camera and also pan it, and it adds a really interesting dimension. And something that I've just started working on is slow-mo. With the GH3, you're allowed to have, you can actually slow down your photos, your video, to about 40%. And for example, I shot some roller derby a couple weeks ago, and I stupidly did not shoot it in slow-mo, but I thought, but I can shoot some more of that, so I thought that would be a really awesome thing to shoot in slow-mo. And you don't even have to do anything in editing. You just drop it in your editing program. It's already slow. And because it records in slow-mo, it's really smooth, and you don't get the blurry images that you do if you slow it down after the fact in editing. So that's something that I'm really excited to play with, because I've done a lot of sports photography in the past. And by the way, not when I'm talking about movement, even when my subject is moving, like with the roller derby, I actually panned along with them when they were skating by me, and I found that worked really well because it kept me with, like, I don't know if you've ever watched roller derby, but it's crazy. My latest video has some roller derby in it, my latest blog post. So you're going to see that probably later this week. But I just followed it along, and it's really exciting because, especially if you're on a wide-angle lens and really close to the action, which is how I used to shoot mountain biking. I used to shoot a lot of mountain biking back in the day. So that's my newest techniques, is playing with movement.
Hey down there at the end, Miss Suzette.
That's great. You know, everybody's getting into movement. That's awesome. Actually, a technique that I like also along those lines is panning across like the scene and then unveiling the true subject. Like, I have a really great clip of this band, a three-piece band, and it's their banjos and their guitars, and eventually it comes up to their faces, but it builds the anticipation, which is cool. But as far as like the fun techniques in the camera, my GH3 has some really cool creative settings, and I really love the impressive art. And so I've been playing with that with sports kind of edgy senior type topics. It's not for everything, but for those kinds of subjects it looks really cool, and it just gives it this contrasty, edgy, almost has a halo around some of the stuff. It's really, really fun. I've been having a lot of fun doing that, and it's just really different. People are like, wow, that's cool. So there's lots of fun toys with the camera. The more I learn, the more I love it.
Same with me. I love those creative modes, and I also played with the vintage modes for some landscape video that I did, and I really like that as well. So yeah, I mean, I just, like, for me, every weekend I go out and I think, oh, what creative thing am I going to do with my camera and video this weekend? And that's what I literally do, is I do something fun, and for me, that's the most fun of starting video, is that I feel that I have this whole new creative process and vision that I was not seeing with my photos. And with my photos, it was all about post-production, and with my video, it's all about capturing it with these really interesting new creative techniques.
And I really love the dynamic black and white. I don't know, there's just, in video, there's something very sweet about it, and just perfect. And yeah, no post-editing needed.
Yes.
Marlene, did you tell us what you do in your photography practice?
No, I was trying to avoid that. No, I actually am mostly an educator now. My background is corporate photography, and I'm quite interested in some of the things that are coming up at Discover Mirrorless that Will's doing with the e-card things. And I have a lot of portraits that I do, like corporate portraits, but I really feel that I want to be more creative. Like, I just feel like I'm pent up somehow, and that I just need to bust out of here, and that's why I'm loving just experimenting. So, but yes, my background, I've done sports, corporate. I did lots of energy sector photography for over 5 years for oil companies and stuff like that. So mostly corporate stuff, which is very realistic in general, corporate stuff. So that's why I feel like I need to be like, explode with my creativity.
Okay. And Suzette, can you tell us a little bit about your practice as well?
Sure. I've been a portrait photographer for a lot of years, and so now I'm adding the video, and it's like giving me a whole new facet to my photography, and I'm bringing in new clients, and it's really changing my direction. But I also teach. I teach Photoshop all over the country, but now I'm teaching a little bit more hybrid, so that's really exciting as well.
Excellent. And my favorite technique is, well, it's something brand new. It's a monopod that has 3 little feet and a fluid ball down at the base, not up at the top where we would expect there to be like a ball head. This is down at the base, and it allows me to not only do some kind of sweeping, panning motions, but also to push in or pull out much more smoothly than I can when I use the zoom ring on the lens. So I'm finding that I actually get zooms and whatever the opposite of zooming is, wides, much more fluidly, much more fun to watch than when I try to do it with the zoom ring. So that's my favorite technique, at least for today. And what you, our audience, wasn't privileged to is that we, of course, we chat a little bit before we come online, And I don't think that there was a single person that didn't mention the learning curve at some point or another. Loving the learning curve, but the learning curve. And so what we just shared with you, techniques from learning to interview so that we get people to talk from the heart, to figuring out how to get the motion in, whether it's sliders or GoPros or jibs or using filters or whatever it is, we are discovering not only lots of techniques, but we're also all learning how to make them work and how to make them work for us. And hopefully what we've shared with you today will inspire you to go out and try some things on your own. Any parting shots, ladies? Oh, and they've all gone mute on me. I think that's the goodbye sign. Thanks everybody for joining us. It's been our pleasure to share this little session with you, and we hope you come back to Discover Mirrorless often, because I think each of us has a little something that we're going to do on that technique that we talked about today to share a little bit more in depth on each of those along with some samples. I think I saw some heads nodding earlier that we would do that. So shoot lots, remember the video, and keep dreaming. This is Carol saying bye now.
Bye, thanks.
Learning hybrid photography, one day at a time.
Become a smarter photographer every day at discovermirrorless.com.
It's free and phone and tablet friendly.